Hey everyone! In this video, we'll take a look at the Portrait and Beauty module of the Post Pro panel. The Skin Retouch Pro section lets you achieve gorgeous, realistic skin within a few minutes. The first step in skin retouching is clearing blemishes. A new healing layer will be created with the Spot Healing tool selected for you. You can also use the Patch tool if you prefer, or the new Remove tool, which is great for cleaning stray hair. Clicking on the Clear Pixels icon deletes all the unaltered pixels from the healing layer. This mainly helps to reduce the file size. You should use this once you finalize the healing step. This step is completely optional. When you're done with healing the blemishes, choose a step 2, either the new AI Face Detect option or the manual full body, mid-body, or headshot options depending on your image. The Face Detect button creates the skin retouching layers based on the subject's face size, along with the image dimensions to calculate realistic skin details. Use the skin preview switch to hide the mask and visualize the effect, so you don't paint over edges of skin around the eyes, nose, lips, or chin. You can fine-tune the balance by adjusting the smoothness and the texture sliders for a pixel-perfect skin. The brush tool with appropriate settings will be pre-selected for you. Paint over the mask to smooth out color transitions and uneven skin texture. Do not paint over any edges or corner areas of the skin. You can also use the Fade tool here to blend in your brush strokes. Step 3 is Skin Contour Blend. The way to use this is by sampling a desired mid-tone skin color from your image, and then gently paint over highlights and shadow areas of the skin to blend the color transitions. If you want to recover burnt-out hotspots, choose a lighter shade of the skin mid-tone and paint on the highlights. The final step 4 is Unify Skin Tones. You can preview the new skin tones using the Hide Mask icon from the bottom section of the panel. The brush tool with appropriate settings will be selected for you to paint on skin areas to even out the color saturation. This is very useful to give a smooth and uniformed skin color, especially if the skin is discolored in some areas or has oversaturated yellowish or magenta patches. Take a look at how balanced the skin looks now. You can adjust the skin tone further by adjusting the hue saturation sliders. The Pro Mattifier button helps control the shine on the skin and lowers the contrast to give a balanced matte complexion to the skin. You will be required to select a skin mid-tone from your image before proceeding. These 4 steps of the Skin Retouch Pro section will give natural results without the need for any further retouching. But if you wish to add some realistic makeup effects or do some quick touch-ups, there are some additional tools below that you can use. The Beautify Eyes button creates 3 separate layer groups to target specific areas of eyes and also selects the brush tool with appropriate settings. Begin by gently painting over the whites in the eye sclera on the mask of the Brighten Eye Whites layer group. Next, select the mask of the Iris Sparkle layer group and gently paint over the iris to add sparkle. Once this is done, select the mask of the Mascara Eyelashes layer and gently paint on the eyelashes. You can also paint on some areas of the eyebrows to darken them and give them more definition. The Lip Gloss button smooths out the lip texture. The brush tool will be pre-selected for you, so simply paint on the lips to soften the texture. The Hair Salon button creates 3 separate layer groups and selects the brush tool with appropriate settings. Paint on the hair conditioner layer mask to make your subject's hair soft and silky. Paint on the hair highlight layer mask to enhance existing highlights. You can either paint on the hair color layer mask to add in the hair color, or you can also use the AI mask preset for a one-click hair selection, which is explained later in this video. Click on the Palette button to open the color palette, and then choose a color to change the default color fill adjustment layers of hair, lips, nails, or eyeshadow. And you can delete the palette layer when done. And in the end, adjust the layer opacity to fine-tune. The Makeup Kit button creates multiple separate makeup layers and then selects the brush tool with appropriate settings. With the Rose Blush layer selected, gently paint a rosy shade over the cheekbones. Be subtle with the application. Paint on the Nail Polish layer mask to add color to the nails. If the nails are naturally white to begin with, you can also choose not to paint the tip of the nails, which will give a French manicure effect. With lipstick shades, gently paint on the Lipstick Shades layer mask to add color. With eyeshadow color, gently paint on the eyelids to add color. You can reduce your PSD file size even further by holding the Alt or Option key when clicking the Clear Pixels icon at the end of all skin retouching and makeup steps. Please note that this will flatten all the retouching layers and groups to a single layer. Remember that this step is completely optional. Here is a look at what we started with, and how amazing the transformation is after a few minutes. The Skin Retouch Pro section systematically races you through every aspect of professional skin workflow, from skin pore treatment to reducing shine and naturally balancing skin tones. Now let's take a look at a few more examples. We'll start with clearing blemishes. You only need to clear out the large or deep acne in this step, and since her skin doesn't have any, we can use the Remove tool to clean stray hair. The second step will automatically take care of all the small blemishes and also treat the deep pores of the skin. For the second step, I'll choose the Face Detect option and let AI create the best possible skin texture. Next, let's preview the skin to fine-tune the texture and smoothness. The brush tool is pre-selected for you as always, so you can instantly start painting in the effect. When working on mid or full body portraits, make sure to paint in the neck, arms, legs, fingers, and every part of the skin. Please make sure not to paint over any edges. You can also paint over the veins to reduce them naturally. This step also cleans out any subtle skin patches or body hair if present. The third step is Skin Contour Blend. This time, let's use the split view icon to create two windows and zoom in on one side. The brush tool is already selected, so we can pick a skin mid-tone to blend in the highlight and shadow areas of the skin. Keep an eye on the zoomed out window to see how the brush strokes affect the full image view. If you overdo your brush stroke, you can use the Fade tool to make it blend in. When working on different parts of the body, make sure to pick a skin mid-tone from that particular area of the skin. Once this is done, we can close any of the duplicate windows. In the next step, we'll unify the skin tones. This time, instead of painting in, I'm going to use the AI Select preset to select the entire face and body skin. Once I have the selection, I can fill in white color in the mask of the Unify Skin Tones layer to reveal the effect. You can adjust the skin tone further by adjusting the hue saturation sliders. Next, let's work on the eyes. With the Brighten Eye Whites layer mask selected, I'll paint in the eye sclera to brighten them. Select the Iris Sparkle layer mask and paint on the iris to make them stand out. And then the Mascara Eyelashes layer mask and paint on the eyelashes, and also the eyebrows if you want to add some depth in them. Finally, I'll move on to the lip gloss button and paint over the lips to soften them slightly. Now I'll hold Alt and click on the Clear Pixels icon to show you the retouched pixels on a single layer. Take a look at her face and elbows. See how well the skin texture and tones have been unified within minutes, and how naturally the veins and body hair have been reduced. Now let's take a look at another skin type. I'll start with the first step of clearing blemishes. Since her skin is fairly clear of blemishes, you can also skip this first step entirely and move on to the Face Detect option in Step 2, which takes care of subtle skin blemishes. Alternatively, you can also choose one of the manual Step 2 options like full body, mid-body, or headshot depending on your image. This is particularly useful if the face of your subject is either covered or hidden or not in the frame. Please note that Step 2 can't be skipped. If you want to skip Step 2 for any reason, you will still need to click on any one of these options to create the necessary layers first, and then move on to Step 3. You can also use the AI masks for a one-click skin selection, but since this effect should be targeted to smaller skin areas, painting in is recommended. Remember that you can actively readjust the skin texture and smoothness sliders at any time. The third step is Skin Contour Blend. Hold Alt to select a skin mid-tone to paint with. The aim here is to blend in the highlight and shadow colors of the skin with the mid-tone color in order to get a smooth transition. In this step, we are not unifying the skin tones. That will be taken care of in the next step. The Fade tool comes in very handy to tone down and blend the brush strokes. Next, I'll click on the Unify Skin Tones and hide its layer mask for a quick preview. This time I'll hold Alt and click on the AI Select button, which switches to the AI Mask button. The process of selecting the skin preset is exactly the same as before as with AI Select. The only difference is that a mask will be directly applied to our active layer group instead of creating a selection first. So this option eliminates the additional step of filling the selection with white. You can fine-tune the skin tone further by adjusting the hue and saturation sliders to get the desired skin tone. Next, I'll use the Pro Mattifier button to select a skin mid-tone first, and then reduce excess shine for a slightly matte look. The Dewy Sheen button lets you boost the existing highlights of the skin. Paint over the skin very gently to add a soft, dewy glow and sheen. When you use this after Pro Mattifier, you have full control of the shine intensity in different highlight areas. Next, I'll click on Beautify Eyes. And with the Brighten Eye Whites layer selected, I'll paint on the eye sclera to clean and whiten it. Then select the Iris Sparkle Layer Mask and paint on the iris to add some sparkle in it. And with the Mascara Eyelashes layer selected, paint on the upper and lower eyelashes, and also gently on the eyebrows to darken them. Again, use the Fade tool to fine-tune the intensity of your brush stroke. Finally, let's click the Lip Gloss button to soften the lips. And here is the before and the after. Now I'll hold Alt and click on the Clear Pixels icon to show you the retouched pixels on a single layer. Remember that this step is completely optional and will merge the non-destructive layers to reduce file size. Let's take a look at an example with a newborn. The entire skin retouching process is exactly the same, starting with a quick spot healing of some dry skin. Next, let's use the Face Detect option for Step 2 and preview the skin to adjust the texture and smoothness. Paint in gently to even out the skin patches. Next is Skin Contour Blend. Select a lighter skin midtone for the contour blending to paint over the lighter and darker skin tones. Although you can clean up skin variations completely like in the eyelid here, it might be a good idea to leave out some natural imperfections. Use the Fade tool to fade your brush strokes. Finally, let's unify the skin tones. You can also use the AI Skin Select to select the skin instead of brushing in. Choose whichever workflow you are comfortable with. And here is the before and the after. Now let's take a look at some other tools in the portrait section. Skin texture can be added digitally to certain areas of skin that are soft or without details. A custom skin texture brush tool will be pre-selected for you. Paint in to reveal the texture in the skin areas which have less detail. To make the texture more visible, you can change the layer blend mode to linear light with around 25% layer opacity. To match the texture size, select the gray texture layer and click on the transform icon to scale it up to match the original skin texture size. You can also flip the texture image vertically or horizontally to match the shadow direction with the image. Take a look at how realistically the texture has been added in the shadow and highlight areas. In this image, I've used Face Detect to do a quick skin retouch first, then used Pro Mattifier to reduce the shine, and used lip gloss to soften the lips a bit. Now I'm going to use Beautify Eyes to first clean out the eye sclera and brighten it. Next, select the Iris Sparkle Layer Mask to add a bit of sparkle, just like we did with the other images. Now, when you open the Iris Sparkle Layer group, you will find an Iris Color Hue Saturation layer. Iris color can also be changed by adjusting the hue slider. Make sure to click on the Colorize option to make drastic color changes, and then fine-tune with the hue saturation sliders. This step is optional and should be used only if required. Next is Whiten Teeth. The brush tool with appropriate settings is pre-selected for you to gently paint over your subject's teeth to whiten and naturally brighten them. Now let's take a look at some other makeup options. Use the eyeliner layer to draw above the upper eyelashes and even below the lower lashes if you prefer. You can create a path outline with the pen tool to create a well-defined shape, and then fill the selection to enhance the eye's shape. On the Smoky Eyes Layer Mask, gently paint in the dark eyeshadow on the eyelids for getting the smoky eyes look. With lipstick shades, gently paint on the Lipstick Shades Layer Mask to add color. Click on the Palette button to open the color palette. Choose any lipstick shade from the palette using the Color Fill Adjustment layer. When you're done using all the makeup kit layers, you can go ahead and delete the palette layer. In the Lens Effects drop-down menu, you will find 3 effects: Lens Bokeh f1.2, Lens Baby Spin, and Lens Baby Zoom effects. The Lens Bokeh f1.2 boosts the effect of the AI-powered lens blur in Camera Raw. Make sure the Apply Lens Blur checkbox is checked and set a desired lens blur effect. When you click OK, an extra smart filter layer with a depth map mask will be added to further intensify the lens bokeh effect. Lens baby spin adds a creative spinning effect to the edges of the image. Similarly, the lens baby zoom adds a creative zooming effect to the edges of the image. The Composite Pro button has two options. When you click the button, it masks out the subject and extracts the shadows from a seamless backdrop studio shot. You can add a new backdrop image above the green screen color fill layer. If you don't want the shadows, you can simply turn off the layer visibility of the Extract Shadows layer. To remove halos around the hair, you can pick a hair color and paint around the edges of the hair on the Remove Hair Halos layer. Besides hair, you can also remove light spills from other areas of the image by sampling and painting over it. You can use the Fade command to blend the brush strokes. Finally, to create a perfect composite blend with the new backdrop, you can paint white or black on the Paint Light Shadow layer to add highlights or shadow over the new background. Use the Fade tool to fade your brush strokes. If the image was not shot on a seamless backdrop, you might have to mask out unwanted areas from the Shadow Extract layer mask. Holding Alt or Option key when clicking the Composite Pro button extracts the subject on a new layer and then regenerates the background using generative fill. This is useful for on-location portrait composites. The Portrait AI Presets button creates a smart layer and opens the Camera Raw filter to apply the portrait presets. Although these presets are mainly designed for shooting tethered with Lightroom, they can also be used for a super quick portrait edit in Photoshop. The AI Select button opens up the Camera Raw filter to let you choose one of the AI selection presets from the Post-Pro AI Mask Select folder. When you hover over the presets, you will see an inverted preview of the selection area. Please do not make any adjustment with any sliders. When you select a preset, click on OK to apply the preset as an active selection. Holding Alt or Option key on the AI Select will switch to the AI Mask button. Just like before, it opens the Camera Raw filter to let you choose the AI Mask presets from the same Post-Pro AI Mask Select folder. The only difference is the preset will be directly applied as a layer mask instead of a selection. If the selected layer doesn't have any existing layer mask, it will be automatically created for you. In the next video, we'll take a look at the landscape and astro module of the panel.